morning, folks. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're in the world. This is Snap the Gorilla, aka The Definition. Welcome to The Definition of Anarchy. This morning, I want to talk about a great disappointment I have in Anthony Brian Logan, man. I held out hope that he was a genuine freedom lover, that maybe, he had to cease past some of the nonsense in regards to the left-right paradigm. But apparently I was wrong. He is firmly ensconced in his cognitive dissonance, in his hypocrisy. And I'm going to point that out in this video, all right? I'm going to point that out. So, this video is in regards to Trump talking about deploying U.S. troops on American soil, which is, there's no way you can justify that, man. There's no way you can justify that. Oh, crap, man. There's no way you can justify that mindset. There's no way. There's no way you can justify that action unless there's actually foreign invaders hell-bent on coming to the United States and taking it over or killing everybody. There's no way to justify that, even with the so-called insurrection. I'll tell you a good way to prevent these riots, a good way to stop the looting and the death on the right side. You understand what I'm saying? So, without further ado, let me start this video.
Using all available federal resources, civilian and military, to stop the rioting and looting, to end the destruction and arson, and to protect the rights of law-abiding Americans, including your Second Amendment rights. Therefore,
listen, he talks about protecting Second Amendment rights, but where does he outline this in this speech? I don't see where. I don't see where he outlines how he's going to protect the Second Amendment. But let's keep going.
the following measures are going into effect immediately. First, we are ending the riots and lawlessness that has spread throughout our country. We will end it now. Today, I have strongly recommended to every governor to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers that we dominate the streets. Mayors and governors must establish an overwhelming local...
You see this? He wants to dominate the streets using U.S. troops. National Guardsmen, but still U.S. troops. And Anthony Brian Logan loves this. Let's keep going.
Presence until the violence has been quelled. If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
Never mind the 10th Amendment, which says that powers not given to the federal government are reserved to the states or the people. Remember what I said before. The state is made up of the people. The state is to be controlled by the people, not by the governor, not by the mayors. No. They are supposed to be our representatives. They're supposed to be people that look out for our best interest. And we're supposed to keep them in check, along with the judicial branch and the legislative branch. But, we know we can't trust them to do that. So it's ultimately up to us. But never mind state powers, right? Never mind it.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about what you just saw, which was a snippet from Donald Trump's most recent talk at the Rose Garden. And if you want to see that full thing, I'll link to that in the description box below. But you heard what the man said. I thought it was pretty straightforward, pretty cut and dry. He's like, look, if your leaders in your city, state, town, etc. cannot protect you or will not protect you, Bill de Blasio, cough, cough, then we, meaning the U.S. government and the U.S. military, will come down to your town to do the job for your leaders and for you. Now, I am in 1,000% support of this, and really,
Of course, he's in 1,000% support of this because it's Donald Trump. See, he suffers from cult of personality disorder where Trump can do no wrong, right? If Obama said this, if Clinton tried this, either of the Clintons, he would be totally against it. He would shit on it. He would talk all kind of crap about how they're trying to perform tyranny on the American people. But because it's Trump, it's okay for Trump to commit tyranny because he's Trump and he's bought in to Trump. See, he loves Trump more than he loves people's freedom because he has an icebox where his heart used to be, and he feels like Donald Trump is the same type of person. See, he don't care about anybody's freedom. He just cares about keeping up the narrative, towing the party line, right? Making sure his followers stay in love with him. Because if you go against him, if you go anything against what these type of followers that he has believes, then they're going to turn on you like they did the Amazing Lucas. All right? The Amazing Lucas's followers, not all of them, but a lot of them started turning on him because he thought the people that killed Arbery, Batman and Robin McMichaels, was did so wrongfully. Like they committed murder. So now his followers are turning against him. That's the type of followers that he has. Let him go against Trump in any way. Let him go against the cops in any way. That's why he capes the cops so much. Let him go against any of that in any way. His people will turn on him faster than that. But, this is how he likes it. So let's keep going.
a little bit earlier, like this came out yesterday, which was Monday, June 1st, 2020, but it should have came out right when the riot started, maybe even before the riots. If you were able to,
maybe even before the riot. So he wanted he wanted Trump to send American troops, deploy them on American soil before the riot started on some minority report stuff, right? On some TAPS Act crap. What's up with that? So this is the type of person he is. This exposes him as the ultimate statist. He wants troops on the ground at the very sign of protest. That's what he's saying. He wants troops on the ground in front of protesters with their firearms and their full battle rattle and their APCs and their tanks and their Black Hawks flying around. That's what he wants whenever we have an issue with the justice system or with the police departments or whatever the case may be. He wants American troops on the ground before problems start. That's the type of person you're dealing with right here.
maybe some riots, get everybody in place right away to prevent the damage that happened, not just to property, which is important, because let's not try to downplay that like it's nothing, because people got to have jobs to go to, people need the infrastructure. You got old ladies on TV crying because they can't go to where they would normally go to get the medication and the food and stuff like that. They don't have a car.
Now, I agree with him that there should not be any looting. We should not be destroying anything. Not our own shit. Not the things that we need day to day to live our daily lives, right? I mean, you live in an urban area. You burn down all your grocery stores. You burn down your businesses. You burn down where your jobs are. That's a problem. But see, the problem is you have these white Antifa type people coming in and destroying our shit. They're starting a lot of this shit. You know, you have some black looters and black of course you do. You have some of all colors. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have people from every color that's going to exploit the situation and cause mayhem. Anyway, let's keep going. But there's a solution to prevent this stuff, and it's not to send American troops on the ground. He's actually going to touch on it, but he doesn't take it far enough. He doesn't take his thinking far enough because he's thinking inside the Trump box.
Like, people don't understand the way people live. They purport themselves to be in favor of the poor brown man, the poor brown woman, etc., but they don't understand what they got to go through on a day-to-day basis. If they did, then they would not be in support of the destructive riots. But that's a different story, and I digress. My whole point is that Trump...
They do understand that. They do understand how we have to live day to day. These people that are coming in and initiate this BS, starting this BS, they don't care. They don't care because it's not their area, it's not their neighborhood. They're getting bussed in from different places. So of course they don't care. They know because they have to do it themselves. That's how they have to live. So they don't care about that.
If you can't do it, your leaders or you or whatever, then we're going to do it. And I am in 1000% support of that. Now, we got to talk about rights because people are saying, hey, he can't do that. He can't send the U.S. military to American streets and patrol us and jail us and whatnot. Well, little do you know, there's a thing called the Insurrection Act of 1807. And in that act, Trump or any other has the power to send the U.S. military onto American streets in certain specific times.
Now, let's talk about the Insurrection Act of 1807. Completely against the Constitution. Just because you create an act doesn't mean it's a correct act. Doesn't mean that it should be in place. Doesn't mean that tyranny wasn't being enacted when they created this act and implemented it and passed it into law. Just because you have an act that says you can do it doesn't mean that it's right for you to do it, or that you should do it, or that the American people should stand for it. So that's why I don't like the Constitution, because it's just a piece of paper. If you rest everything on the Constitution, and you put people in place that don't give a shit about it, right? Because you're voting for these people. You're voting for these people to violate your rights. You're voting for these people that are supposed to represent you. What they're doing is representing their own best interest. If they can create any law they want. If they pass it, it can go against the Constitution like a big dog. There are tens of thousands of laws that go against the Constitution. No, we don't need to rest on the Constitution. We need to rest on human rights. And human rights dictate that you can't send our own troops out to police us because some people are causing problems. And I'll tell you what you can do instead.
Be general civil unrest is what we're seeing right now. Civil unrest, an insurrection or rebellion. Those three reasons give power to Trump to send the U.S.
Insurrection or rebellion. Let's talk about insurrection and rebellion. What if there's a rebellion against a tyrannical government? What if it's an insurrection against a tyrannical government that's oppressing the people? You see, that oppressive and tyrannical government can use that act to turn against their own people that are bucking against them. So that's why that act is started. And anybody that pushes that act and justifies this nonsense because of this act is a tyrant in their minds too. He always talks about ruling by fiat, right? Which means that he can pretty much create any law he wants, rule it however he wants. That tells you the type of mentality he has. Now, I kind of dismissed it before, like, okay, it's just a figure of speech. But no. This cat would rule by fiat and has no problem with Trump ruling by fiat. And just to justify it, he'll say, oh, the Insurrection Act of 1807, he can use that. No, he knows that's BS. But because it's Trump, and because he has to push it, this is what he's doing. Very disappointing. I thought he was better than that.
To the streets. And I think that we need that right now. Like I said, we have general incivility going on, the rioting, the looting, the shooting, all kind of stuff. You got officers getting shot, killed, run over with cars, hit with mortars, people getting hit in the head with bricks and all kind of stuff like that. So I think we're at that particular stage. Not all over the United States, because one thing I like about this country, which is what Trump mentioned, is our Second Amendment, okay? You're seeing people protect their businesses, protect their homes and their neighborhoods with their weapons. It was crazy because I saw some people in the Freato, aka Seattle area, Bellevue, right across the river, or whatever it is, the water, they were protecting their neighborhood with guns. Okay, so I was kind of surprised to see that, but at the same time I'm not, because we live in America. You have that right to protect yourself, to protect your property, to protect your neighbors, to protect your friends. We have that right. So I'm one.
Now, I agree with him on this part. Yes, we do have that right. So let's take it a step further. Let's roll this troops on the ground bullshit back and take it a step further. Instead of Trump enacting the Insurrection Act, let's say that he writes an executive order that eliminates all unconstitutional gun control laws. And then empowers the people to keep and bear arms and patrol and protect their own neighborhoods and their own families, like they're doing in Bellevue and these other places where people are walking around with their firearms out, daring people to come through there and mess with them. Let's apply that everywhere, because we have democratic cities and states that have enacted these gun control laws that stifle and infringe on our rights to keep and bear arms. So let's eliminate all that. Let's do that. Why take, let's put troops on the ground. Let's empower the people. He doesn't want to empower the people. He wants to empower himself. He wants to empower the bankers. That's who he wants to empower. And ABL is all for it. He done drank the Kool-Aid, passed out, went to wherever he went to, came back, drank the Kool-Aid again. He's going to drink the Kool-Aid every time, as long as Trump is handing him the goddamn styrofoam cup. You understand what I'm talking about, Shouter? This guy right here, ultimate statist. There is a solution other than putting troops on the ground. Empower the people. Get firearms in their hands. Eliminate the background checks. Eliminate the assault rifle bans. Eliminate the high capacity magazine bans. Eliminate the gun control, the gun free zones. Eliminate open carry bans. Eliminate concealed carry bans in every state, every city. That's what you do as a president. And you wouldn't be overstepping your boundaries, or you wouldn't be overstepping, because guess what? The Constitution already protects our rights to keep and bear arms. All you're doing is making sure that it's upheld. You're eliminating all these laws. It'll hold up in court if it has to go there. It shouldn't have to go there. The people should be able to do whatever the hell they want with their firearms, as long as they're not harming or hurting other people. But he's not going to tell you that. He's going to say, oh, bravo, Trump. Yeah, put troops on the ground. Yeah, that'll be a good optic. That'll make people happy. That'll make people comfortable. Are you kidding me? Nah, man. ABL, you out of pocket, partner. Let's keep going with this, man. Bunch of nonsense he's spewing right now.
With it all day long. Now, like I just kind of hinted to earlier, people like Bill de Blasio are against sending the National Guard, but it's like, why? Okay, your city has basically fallen. What are you going to do about it? If the police...
What should Bill de Blasio do? He's going to tell why you should put the National Guard on the ground. No, you don't do that. You say, okay, you know what? I'm Bill de Blasio, and I'm going to say that we're going to suspend indefinitely every gun control law. Everybody go out and get a firearm. Everybody come to the police station, get you a rifle. If you don't have a firearm, go to your local gun store. We'll pay for your firearms. It's your tax money. We'll put guns in your hands. We'll put ammunition in your hands. We'll put flak jackets and bulletproof vests in your hands, so you can protect yourself and your property and your businesses. That's what you should tell de Blasio to do. If you about that life, but you ain't about that life. You about that tyrannical life.
Bill de Blasio's own daughter, what's her name? Sierra, aka Bebop from Ninja Turtles. She got arrested for engaging in play out there in New York. The apple does not fall far from the tree. You see what's going on. Bill de Blasio hates cops. He's the mayor. His daughter hates cops because her daddy hates cops. She was raised to hate cops. So they have no support. So there's no surprise that he would not allow the National Guard to come in. But my thing is, okay, what are you going to do, sir? You hate the police in general. Your city is burning. So, like, what's going to be the next course of action? In that case, you need the U.S. military. Like I said, if the leaders in your place won't do it, your governor, mayor, whoever, if they won't do it, it's time for the U.S. government to...
There he goes again with that nonsense, that false dilemma. Either you're going to have the troops do it, or you're going to blah, blah, blah. Or you're going to let the city burn, or you're going to let the troops do it. No, that's not how it works. I just told you how to do it.
And let's get this under control. Now, this is not small potatoes. You're not going to use the Insurrection Act lightly, okay? It's not really a thing that gets used ever, so you make sure you want to tread lightly. And I think that if he uses it right now, it'll send a message to anybody else in the future, like, don't do this. Don't be out here looting, shooting, carrying on, just don't do it. If you're engaging in peaceful protests, like Trump said, then I'm all for it, 1,000%. If all the protests were peaceful, then I would have no problem. Okay, people were talking about, oh, well, you're mad about protests now, but
police reported ahead.
Peaceful. If there was an armed, peaceful protest in this situation with George Floyd, then I'd be all for it. The problem is that it's not peaceful anymore. Even the peaceful protesters, by being out there with the
problem is most of the protests weren't armed in the first place. That's the problem. Look at the Virginia rally earlier this year, where there were about 20,000 people with firearms. No problems, no issues. They wasn't messed with. They weren't allowed on the Capitol grounds, but they made their message clear, and they got things done. That's how you do it. You don't tell people, if you don't get in line, we're going to send the troops. No. The people that are willing to protect and defend themselves and defend their families, you empower them. You enrich them with the means to defend and protect themselves. You don't, come on, man.
Are the same, because you're just adding to the massive people that the police got to deal with. You see what I'm saying? And at a certain point, you got to be able to define what peaceful is. If you are like Bill de Blasio's daughter and you're blocking traffic, but you're not assaulting anybody directly, are you peaceful? You can say, oh, my hands up, I ain't doing, I'm just sitting here, but you're getting in the way. You're blocking traffic. I got to be able to get from point A to point B. I got a job, I got kids, I got to, I might be an ambulance. I'm trying to get to an emergency call, fire trucks, emergency vehicles in general. Why would you block the road and then start calling yourself peaceful? A peaceful protest is in a controlled area where you're not endangering people, blocking people, where you're not impeding anybody's forward progress or hurting anybody. To me, that's a peaceful protest. But if you're blocking traffic, throwing rocks and bottles and bricks and sticks and shooting and carrying on, that is not peaceful. Most people out there at this particular point in time are just engaging in general violence. You have two camps that are engaging in the violence. You have the professional types, the Antifa types, who are very well organized and funded. Where the money comes from, different stories, so I digress. But the whole point is that they're very well organized and funded. They're going to be out here just trying to cause.
So instead of focusing on, if that's true, we know Antifa is orchestrating a lot of this BS. If we know that to be true, then why not go after the funders of Antifa? Why not dig deeper into that? Yes, you declare them terrorists, but what are you doing to put a stop to it? These people know who's funding Antifa. This is a game. This is a game, y'all. And he fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, man.
What they do, they're an anarchist type of movement, which is weird because they want to engage in anarchy, but what they're doing is bringing about more government. It doesn't make any sense, but I'll move on. Anyway, they are more of an anarchist movement. Your Antifa, maybe even to a certain extent.
Look, man. Antifa are not anarchists. It's not an anarchist movement. It's a socialist, Marxist, communist movement. Y'all, look. Anarchy means no rulers. All right? Without rules. No rulers, no dictators, no this, no that. That's what anarchy means. These people aren't engaging in anarchy. Stop doing that. See, look, I explained to him already what anarchy is. Stop calling these people anarchists. The definition of anarchy is no rulers. The definition of anarchy is not looting, chaos, firebombing, none of that. That's not what anarchy is. Stop saying that. It's not anarchy, man. It's just misleading the people. He's very dishonest right now. Being very dishonest.
As LIES matters. All right. Then you have just the general knuckleheads that live in that particular area. And I've also seen some of the Antifa types directing local knuckleheads. So you got the mostly white group.
Understand, when he says knuckleheads, he's talking about black people. See, he'll call black people out their name called knuckleheads, but the white Antifa people, that are orchestrating this BS, he won't call them out their name. He'll just call them white Antifas. Black folks, knuckleheads. White folks, white folks.
Expecting the mostly black, quote unquote, insurrectionists, aka rioters and looters, scammers and stealers. It's weird how that works, but I'm getting way off track. My whole point is that
yeah, whatever, man. Yeah.
all of that got to come to an end. All right? And if you're peaceful in general and you're not among.
It comes to an end by empowering the people that don't want this stuff to go on in their neighborhoods. You empower the people in that neighborhood to stop these white Antifa types from going in there and causing this problem. You empower them by arming them up, telling them to arm up, telling them to be prepared to defend what's yours. That's how you do that, pimpin'. Oh, shit, man. It's just frustrating.
Peaceful melee, then hats off to you. You should be protected. You're engaging in your rights. But then when you're in the mix, when you're in the melee, when you're causing issues yourself, you're no longer peaceful and you should not be protected. So shout out to Trump. I want the military to go to the streets and take the streets back. Innocent people are.
He wants the military to go to the streets and take the streets back. You see that? In his mind, the streets don't belong to the people. The communities don't belong to the people. The states don't belong to the people. The cities don't belong to the people. The United States don't belong to the people. They belong to Trump and Trump's administration. Because that's what he's all about. Pushing the Trump agenda. That lets you know right now that he's a statist. He doesn't believe in your freedoms. He believes that you should be allowed we'll allow you some freedoms, but you don't deserve them. If you speak out against Trump, if you speak out against the police, if you are aggressive in any manner toward your tyrannical oppressors, he's against you. That's what I'm gathering from. This is what I'm getting from all this. He's exposing his statism.
They're not out there at all. Just want to go home, go to work, take care of the kids. They are suffering as a result. It's got to come to an end. If you, meaning your state, town, city, don't want to do it, then the military will. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think it's a good idea for Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why.
Hell no. Hell no. What are you, nuts? It's not. It's not a great idea at all.
Or is it a bad idea? Why in the comments below. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out why he wouldn't do it, really, because it needs to.
Of course you're having a hard time. Of course you're having a hard time with that because you're a statist. And you believe in rulers. And you want people to, you're supposed to be a black conservative. Conservatives are supposed to believe in smaller government, people being self-sufficient, people being self-reliant, people being able to carry their own weight. But you want to take the biggest government action. You want him to enact the biggest government action ever on United States soil by enacting this Insurrection Act. Are you kidding me? You're not a conservative, bro. You're not. You want Big Daddy government to take care of you. You want Big Daddy government to protect us instead of protecting ourselves. You don't want us to be used to being self-dependent and being self-reliant. You want us to rely on Trump's government. You want us to rely on Trump's U.S. troops. And that, my friend, exposes you as a statist. You're not a freedom lover. And that's what it is. Anybody agree with me? Let me know in the comment section below. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Is ABL right? Should we just be putting troops on the ground? Or should we empower the people to be their own troops? Should we empower the people to be their own militia? Be the militia. Get your militia cracking. That's how you handle that. But to have U.S. troops go on U.S. soil, tell us what we can do, what we can't do, where we can go, where we can't go, when to stay in the house, when to come out the house, enforcing that type of BS? Because you think they're just going to go take care of the looters? No. They're going to make sure everybody's being good little boys and girls and staying in their homes. in following the guidelines and following the following orders and doing what daddy government says. That's what they will be doing. Anyway, y'all hit me up in the comment section, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Much love to you. Anybody that follows ABL and who is a true freedom lover, I'm putting you on, I'm calling you to action. If you really believe in freedom, then you have to see that this is a problem. That Trump declaring martial law, which is what he's doing, is a problem. And you can't support this. You have to call him out on it, like I did. If you can't call him out on it, you're just as much of a statist as he is. So, with that being said, much love to y'all. Peace out. Like, share, subscribe. And yeah, let's call these people out. Let's put these people to task. All right, peace out.